Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are haunting the subreddit r/entitledpeople, and today we have two stories, one short and one longer. So let's just jump right in and check out the stories. The first story is "My Father Will Hear of This." So I used to work at a call center, but left because the job was terrible. I could see that, yeah. There was this annoying guy who I'll call Draco. I promise it'll make sense later. I bet it will. Who always bragged about how much better his life is. He would brag how spoiled he was growing up. He would tell us how he was a DJ who played at some clubs in the city, but needed to get a real job according to his rich dad. There were more, but I can't remember. Now onto the story. We were urged to upsell a product by our customers by asking if they were interested. If they were interested. If they weren't, we could continue on with the sale that we were called in for. Draco used deceptive wording to sell to people to increase his bonus. He would talk fast and end the question with, "If you agree, say what?" Our calls were recorded, and our managers called him into the office and told him to clear out his desk. When he came out of the office, he said something to the effect of, "My dad'll hear about this." We all went back to work thinking nothing of what he said. Later, one of my coworkers went for a smoke break and went through the lobby and saw Draco in there. Draco asked her to get the manager. She did, but on her way past security, she overheard him say, "I shouldn't have to fight your battles." When my coworker came back from her smoke break, she heard Draco in tears pleading for his job back, but my manager stood her ground. Draco's father mentioned something about lawyers, but my coworker went back to work and didn't hear the end of the conversation. We never saw Draco again. Yeah, I'm sorry, but at a certain point, even if you are rich, Daddy and Mommy are not going to fight your battles for you. You've got to learn to fight your battles for yourself. End of story. Even if you are an entitled little jerk. On to the second story, which is also our last story. Neighbor tries to use toddler for getting access to my mother's house. It backfires. Hi, gang. At the time of writing, I'm still seething with anger, but hopefully sharing this with you lot can help out a bit. One way or the other, I don't think she'll be pulling this one again. Backstory. My mother is of an age, let's say around 90. How do you not know how old your mom is? And has some issues coping. It didn't exactly help that my father unexpectedly passed away several years ago while she was still recovering from cancer. And even though she got better, the emotional and physical stress definitely had their effect. She could manage around the house and do dishes, laundry, make her bed, but this is already taking its toll because she easily gets tired. Things outside the house just don't work anymore. So that's where I come in. For the past 3 or 4 years or so, I go over to her place every week and spend a few days helping out with some chores, doing some grocery shopping, and of course, also to keep her some company. It's ironic because my girlfriend and I have been dating for pretty much 12 years now, yet we don't live together and instead go visit each other's place every weekend. Sure, I had times when I wanted more out of the relationship, but my girlfriend also has her doubts sometimes. Yet now it's a blessing because I get to help my mom without it affecting my relationship. Oh, the irony. Anyway, my parents used to have a good relationship with the neighbors, but as you can imagine, that somewhat faded because my mom didn't set foot out of the house unless she had to. For example, for her medical examination at the hospital, which is coming up again soon. Still, I do keep in touch with some of the neighbors, and it always put a smile on my face when the neighbors from number 3 often ask me, "You got our number, right? And don't hesitate to call if you need a hand, you hear?" All of this happened in the Netherlands, and obviously the conversations are translated. Nope, still shaking with anger, so I guess this story needs to continue. A warm Wednesday. It's pretty hot in the Netherlands right now, and that doesn't exactly do my mother any good. She often gets tired, has to cut chores in half, and yeah. So this weekend I figured I'd hop over on a Sunday, got full support from my girlfriend, stayed the rest of the first days of the week. I got a bed there, which I can use, and go home. So, well, today. This also allows me to cook for my mother, which she enjoys because that has been somewhat of a bother as well. Something she can manage, but it's getting difficult at times. Having done everything in and around the house already earlier this week, the only thing left for today was emptying and cleaning the chemical toilet, which is a miniature septic tank, and emptying all the trash bins and take out the actual trash. Side note, if you have family who are of age and you want to prevent them from having to go up and down the stairs all the time during the night, I can highly recommend a chemical toilet. It can easily last for a week, and it can definitely prevent accidents or issues from having to go down and up the stairs again. Reason I mention this is because my girlfriend and I also mentioned this, and some of our closest friends have just heard too many times. So obvious, why didn't I think of that? Think about my mom. She's somewhat punctual. She gets up at a specific hour. She'll have breakfast 1 hour later, and she'll have some lunch somewhat around or past noon. She also prefers that I take out the trash around that same time so that she can keep an eye out of the front door, which I usually leave open because easy. This will become important very soon because I'm convinced that this is what led up to the following events. Just to reiterate, I've been doing this pretty much every week for the past 3 to 4 years now. Can I come over, please? This week was different. We started the day as usual, but then I got a PM from my girlfriend who told me that she was with her parents right now. They live in a nearby city, and asked me if she could come over. She didn't feel like going home this week and wanted to tag along and head over to my place early. Obviously, I asked my mother, who didn't mind at all, so sure thing. This was 15 minutes before I normally take the trash out, and I noticed a little kid playing in the front, and also somewhat inside the front yard of my mom's house, which doesn't have fences. This seemed odd to me because there's a play field 2 to 3 houses over, and all the kids go there. But I didn't give it much thought because I soon asked, Isn't that the nice Asian girl who's coming over, right? Which was obviously way more important to me. So while waiting for my girlfriend to arrive, I decided to take on some other chores, which my mother would obviously have done. Because, gonna wait this out anyway, and this heat isn't good for her, so if she can relax a bit more this week, all the better. My phone beeps with a PM from my girlfriend telling me she's getting off the bus, and my mother and I watch the GPS tracker, which I projected on her smart TV. My girlfriend and I always share our GPS locations when we meet up, and it really helps with timing and preventing waiting for hours near a bus stop. When I see my girlfriend's GPS blip enter our street, I open the front door and step out. Girlfriend and I hug, and I tell her that I only need to take the trash out the trash, and then we can go. We go inside and have some small talk. My mother and girlfriend get along really well, which makes me very happy. As it turns out, my mother was reading a book which mentioned the tale of the 1,000 origami cranes, and my mother was really curious if my girlfriend knew about this. She did, and she was more than happy to share the tale. I poured the ladies some tea, and while doing so, look out the front window when I put the teapot back in its place and see the same kid once again. This time not playing, but just sitting there on the ground? Weird, but once again, I don't give it much thought. But in hindsight, you lot, OMG. Taking out the trash twice? While the ladies are talking, I decide to empty all the bins into the main container, empty the vacuum cleaner, Dyson, FTW. My mother can still vacuum thanks to that brand, mad respect. And out I am about to go when my mother mutters, "Shell, now please don't leave the door open," to which my girlfriend quickly responds, "Don't worry, okays. I'll watch the door while he's out." If you must know, okays is short for okazon phonetic, which my girlfriend always uses to address my mother. No, not gonna go into details, you'll figure it out. But I can say once again that my girlfriend adores my mother. Things got weird from here on. I go out to the trash bin. There's a storage unit down the street. You can scan your card, the thing unlocks. You pull it open and put your stuff in, and then close it. Easy. While I'm walking, my girlfriend is standing in the doorway, but a few steps back. Next thing I hear, "Now go, go," from across the street. But I don't give it much thought. I mean, there was a kid playing in the street for most of the time, it seemed so. But when I disposed of the trash and walked back, I see the same kid from before running across the street without looking. WTF? And he heads straight for my mom's place? Sure enough, the kid runs full force into the open door, but apparently without looking because they crashed right into my girlfriend, who saw it coming last second and just managed to take some kind of a stance. The kid slammed into her legs and got knocked right back. My girlfriend just managed to grab the kid before they hit their head on the concrete. Apparently the kid was a girl, because while I was stunned seeing this happen and now make my way back toward my mom's house, some fat cow, sorry, I can't even call that a Karen anymore, jogs her fat behind over, ignores a car whose driver is now honking its horn while she flips him off, and then pushes me out of the way as I'm about to enter my mother's front yard. While she's screaming that my girlfriend is harassing her kid, my girlfriend grabbed the kid's clothes near their chest area before they dropped. WTF? I'm immediately thinking that this hog is crazy. In fact, that's what I'm going to call her. Me. You need to control your kid. Who in their right mind runs into a stranger's house? Hog. Shut up, you squatter! I know what you're up to, but it's not gonna work, she yells. Once again, WTF. Girlfriend, lady, you need to look after your kid. Hog, no, you need to get out of my way right now before I'm call the cops on you. I'm collecting evidence. And with that, she pulls up a phone and starts filming my girlfriend. You two are squatting in this house, and I'm gonna expose you, she says, while she now also points her phone at me while she takes a step toward my girlfriend, completely ignoring the kid who's now sitting in the doorway while crying and sobbing, I might add. Context, this cow is huge, wide, and definitely has the weight advantage on my girlfriend. She also somewhat taller, however my girlfriend doesn't back down. Quite the contrary. Girlfriend, get lost, lady, before this turns ugly. Hog, I have a right to be here, she yells, and she makes an attempt to push my girlfriend out of the way. Then we hear, I'm not even going to attempt to say that, from inside the house. My mom got into the corridor behind my girlfriend, now wondering what the heck is going on, and she came looking. My girlfriend's composure immediately changing. Last warning, out! She yells, but nope, the hog already storms over. I could immediately tell that this was a bad move. My girlfriend was well aware of my mother behind her, and she will definitely not allow her to come into any harm. The very moment the hog took one step over the house entrance, my girlfriend kicked the hog's shins full on, hard enough for the hog to halt. She now cries out in pain while grabbing her leg. It seems people who stand on one leg are less balanced than others, because my girlfriend now delivers a huge shove, and sure enough, with an audible boom, the cow falls over, flat on her butt and back. If you haven't noticed from my writing, I couldn't care less about that. But even though I don't necessarily like kids and try to stay clear of them, my heart almost broke when I now hear and see the kid with mouth wide open and soon breaking out into more tears and sobs. This was a crap show in the making. Period. My girlfriend jumped over to the hog and started checking vital signs while also calling an ambulance. I'm trying to look after the kid and calm them down, not knowing what the heck I'm supposed to do. So I tell them to relax, ask them if they're hurt from the collision with my girlfriend earlier. They forcefully shake their head, and I'm telling them that I'm sorry, but you can't just come into a stranger's house and force your way in. Auntie was bad, right? They tell me, still sobbing. I nod my head, much to our surprise. No, to my complete shock, the hog gets up, pushes my girlfriend out of the way. What did you say, you little brat? She yells and even slapped the kid. You're useless, which is when my girlfriend completely lost it. Sorta. She pushes the hog away, shoves her out of my mom's yard, and plain out tells her that if she even dares to try and come back, she'll let her have it, during which she dials 112. That's the Dutch version of 911. And it turns out domestic problems aren't much of a concern in this city. They'll try and get an officer down here as soon as possible. Girlfriend, but how long will that be? 112. An officer will be there in about 20 or so minutes, an hour and a half. That's not going to help. That's going to help. Not. So I asked the kid, who is still crying their eyes out, if they want to go back to their mom. They shake their head. No, I hate her. She is a bad auntie. I just reached my limit here, and thus I now grab my phone, look up and find the phone number for Child Protective Services. I think it's called in English. And I tell them everything. CPS, can you please repeat the address? Me, this is the address of my mother. I think they live down the street. Kid, here is the number. Girlfriend looking over. Good job. CPS, that's a repeats address. How serious is it? And when I tell them the brief story, we're coming over right now. Me, CPS is coming over right now. The hog squeals, makes one more attempt to push my girlfriend out of the way, who immediately shoves her back, after which she just flings her arm and yells at the kid, "This is all your fault, you little brat!" and then storms off. Mom/auntie of the year right there. For sure. Insert insult I'd better not repeat. CPS did come. We all got inside, which was very taxing on my mother, who isn't accustomed to so many strangers. We quickly moved to the kitchen and then back outside after the personal stuff was relayed and the kid was taken by CPS. Something was not right here, you guys. Not at all. As soon as they understood that they didn't need to go back home anymore, the kid ended up hugging my girlfriend. Well, her legs, saying thanks and how she saved them. CPS took him away. My concern now was my mother. So we installed cameras. My mom never opens the door in the evening anyway and always looks out the window before doing so, but now we have extra fail-safes. TLDR, I'm at my mother's home. Well, you can read all this if you really want to. I'll stay here for a few seconds. I'm not going to read all this. Pause it if you really want to read it. Here's an update. First, thanks for all the comments and stuff. I think I'm managing to get it out of my system. Special thanks to this person for making me go doy, because facepalm time, because your comment about a door chain never came to mind on the to-do. In the meantime, partially because of that, I decided to call the neighbors from number 3. They weren't around during the happenings, but they do know the neighbor across the street. A bad egg, so to speak. As it turns out, the police actually made an appearance this evening and came over to talk to her, so they saw. At least it's something. Wow, what a story. So Karens exist outside of the United States. I mean, I knew that. I've seen videos, but wow, crazy story. Whew. And that's it for Entitled People. If you like that video, please like that video and please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd really much appreciate it. And have a good day.